Hello, I'm Ellen Horan, President and CEO of the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I'm here for this week's Member Spotlight with Bala Peterson and John Moyer, who are partners for a company called Cast and Crew. Welcome, Bala, and welcome, John.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So when did this partnership start?
So our story goes back almost 10 years ago. John applied for an internship, then Sovereign Bank, and his resume was really impressive. He was 17 and he won all these science fairs, and he came into interview and it didn't turn out well. So we turned him down, and then we met again about 3 years ago at an art show, and I asked him if he still was programming and coding, and he said yes. And so we started to partner on different projects.
Okay. So were you still working as a banker then?
So at Sovereign, I was a programmer on the web department.
Okay,
yes.
got it.
And but when we met again, I was with Comcast in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting. That's how a lot of our small businesses, our startups start, is by people just starting to do things on the side while they are keeping their day job to get things going. And so this was your first time reaching out to bring someone else into the fold, because I know that's been a theme then as your business has grown, right?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. So I partnered with others, but John was really the most efficient for me. We started working together, and he and I did about 40% of my salary in freelance. And so we thought to ourselves, you know, we could possibly do this for other freelancers to give them some sort of legitimacy, to give them some sort of structure and some support. And so we decided to do this full time. I resigned, and we formed a company, and now that's what we do. We use teams to help execute on our projects.
Okay. Why don't you tell the members a little bit about the range of services that you provide as Cast and Crew?
Yeah, so on a daily basis, we produce websites, we produce mobile applications, we do design. People come to us with high-level problems. I would like to help transition my daycare to a different program, to a different system. I'd like to build a website that communicates with QuickBooks and talks to another system and make that work seamlessly. So what we do is we work with these people, we put together a plan, and then we go back and we assemble the teams that are able to execute. There's so much specialty today, and there are just a plethora of really talented people out there. We watched another show where you talked about the gig economy. That's what our business is built upon.
Right.
Is that.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like the range of services goes from the kind of the marketing, PR, branding end of it to the helping people with their technical IT. Is that correct? Which really I think of as two different ends of the spectrum, but does that portray it properly?
Yes and
yes
no.
And no.
So we both have our undergrads in computer science.
Okay.
So what we do is we take projects that we are able to, that we understand very well. And so most of what we produce has to do with code. So we write code for mobile devices. We write code to support marketing campaigns. We write code to help customize experiences for users. We write code to extend systems and platforms.
Okay.
So a lot of the work happens to be on the web as well. A lot of the work has to do with marketing, but marketing agencies come to us and say, hey, we have this campaign we would like to run. Can you help us customize it, or do some specialty work for that? And so we're able to find the right people to be able to do database connections, to be able to do security audits, to be able to help an e-commerce website scale, to be able to help extend their CRM, their customer relationship management platform. So we come in as a group of specialists.
Got it.
So the people we work with are really, really good at one thing, and that's usually our criteria for teams.
Right.
It's specialization.
Okay. Now, I liked what you had said on your website, that you like to try and help people tell their stories by leveraging technology. Why don't you give me an example of that? And visual expression you also had added in there. Give an example of a client that you worked for to do that.
Sure.
We'll get you speaking sooner or later, John.
Yes.
Is this the way it normally goes?
always. And it's funny because he speaks English better than I do. So, okay, so an example. This is a project that we just launched. When we build things, we try to understand context. So we ask people to tell us stories. How would this tool help you? So Krista owns Almost Home Children's Center. Okay. They have about 120 different students. And so she managed everything with Excel and paper and pen. Mm-hmm. And there were some government requirements for access into the facilities and things like that. So we came in. She originally came asking to build a custom platform to manage her students, to keep track of vaccinations and things like that. So we sat down and heard her story, and building something custom would have been completely out of her budget. So we did some research into really, really great tools out there. And so now her daycare has, it's called ProCare. It's a system we implemented for her. Mm-hmm. Parents can come in and use fingerprint to sign in. People can pay online. These are things that she never had. Now she can do email blasts from the system to be able to keep in touch with parents and do marketing that way as well. So it's just a simple example of us listening to the story mm-hmm. and not just jumping to the gun and building the next mm-hmm. big web application, but finding a way to solve their problem using technology.
Okay, good. And let's talk a little bit about that gig economy that we've talked about in the past, or we're seeing as a trend. With the younger generation, not wanting the typical 8 to 5 job, 40 hours a week in a cubicle, and preferring to want to go from gig to gig and have more flexibility and freedom. Do you find you are seeing that here in the Reading area that enables you to bring the talent in, or do you have to cast your net wider geographically?
Absolutely. So Reading has this manufacturing heritage. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of folks our age saw what happened to their parents, where pensions are gone, lifetime jobs are no longer there, and so they're jaded. They say to themselves, I would like to have as much control as possible. Mm-hmm. And so, one of the things that clicked for us, so I commuted to Philadelphia, and you would see a lot of, stickers from people around here. So there are a lot of really talented people who worked mm-hmm. at Gear and Lucent and mm-hmm. other major companies that are still commuting to New York, to DC, to Philadelphia, and some of them want just extra cash. Mm-hmm. Some of them want to be able to keep up with technology, so they take on side gigs to be able to help them keep up. And those are the types of people we find. They're usually in high demand, but control is a really big thing. They want to be in mm-hmm. control of their careers, and usually they're the best because they're very and technology is so diverse today. There are 20, 30 different ways to do one thing. So. People are starting to specialize more and more. And so all those factors play into just us being able to tap into really great talent mm-hmm. and be able to, that's how we scale.
Okay. All right, and let's talk about your experience in the Jumpstart Incubator, sure. because that's a neat thing at our Berks County Community Foundation, assisting startup companies in an incubator type setting, yes. and you guys are a current client. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Jumpstart Incubator experience?
He's not going to say anything. So it's been awesome. So we know how to do the work, but everything that goes into supporting the business. So our books were a mess when we got there, and June Clower has been
That's
fantastic.
Her strength. Yep.
Just helped us. So now we can actually pull reports whenever we need them, mm-hmm. Helping us with the strategy and where are we going as a company. And so one of the things I say is, every business should have a coach, a mentor, and a cheerleader. And we had SCORE advisors in the beginning, mm-hmm. and they were tremendous. Steve and John, thank you. They've been great. But the incubator now is just on a day-to-day basis. On our proposals, our documents have been. It's hard,
right,
to run a business. Having support, mm-hmm. It's been tremendous.
Right. Okay, so Bala's obviously the talker in the group.
No.
John, you're the brains.
He is.
Bala admitted that up front.
Yes.
So for you, being in a business, when your expertise is your skill is on the technical side, how challenging is that for you?
Massively. I mean, we were having personality crises for the business on a regular basis, and we got lunch with Heather Adams over at BCTV, and she was like, the incubator would probably solve all of this for you, and I feel like for the most part it really has, and
That more constant
wonders.
mentoring is a good way to word it, Bala. SCORE is great.
Yeah.
They'll counsel you as you go and as you're
Yeah.
developing, but the incubator provides that on a more
Hands-on
daily
help.
basis. That's a good
Yes.
point.
And now that we're at the end of the
Good.
year, we've been having bigger conversations as far as
Next
what's
steps.
happening next year, and we have a much better understanding as to what our financial position is and what kind of strategies we can take in the coming year.
Very good.
So that's been helpful.
So what's next for the two of you as we're getting ready to sign off?
World dominate now.
Well, you're going to be soon. We're at the end of your. Is it 1 year you're allowed?
Two-year
Two-
program.
Oh, okay, 2
We're
years.
just about to complete our
Oh,
first
are you?
year there.
Okay, so you still have another
So
year.
we still have another year. So I would say focus and clarity. People come to us because we do a great job just organizing and planning projects for them. They're able to manage their lives, keep up with their lifestyles. I think as a company, we need to do a better job of supporting this gig economy for those around here, because most of them are local here, and do a better job of providing them with the business help they need, the marketing help they need, so they can focus on their specialty. So that's really we're about to hire our first employee to help us
All right, big step.
plan, and
Big
so
step.
those are just some really
Excellent.
scary, awesome
Good.
things.
Well, you're both doing, I think, the right things in that you bring your technical skills, you're seeking out the help you need. I've seen you at many chamber events, so I know you're working the crowd. You're working hard. I think I see Bala more than you, or it just might be he's talking and
Yes.
you're at the bar. So, but anyway, thank you very much for being
Thank
a chamber member, and thanks for what you do for our community.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank you.
much. We really appreciate it.